Let's talk about the Black Ops 7 campaign, all of the details we know so far, and also my thoughts on the teaser trailer. So as you know, last Sunday we got the shocking Black Ops 7 reveal trailer teaser at the end of the Xbox Game Showcase, which a lot of people were not anticipating at all, and because the trailer looks so much unlike Call of Duty, it came as a massive surprise to not just Call of Duty fans, but general gaming fans that don't care for Call of Duty, but thought that the trailer looked very interesting and sparked their interest until they found out it was Call of Duty. Now before I go into my thoughts and stuff like that, it's very likely we're going to be seeing some sort of reveal next Friday on the 20th of June, because in the trailer itself this date is highlighted, and this is actually the in-canon date where Menendez released the infamous YouTube video that I'll play for you now.
This video is triggered to play upon my assassination. Cordestier, you know how to proceed. My death will shine light upon ubiquitous darkness. Opulence is sinful, and we all pay for it. Los Angeles was the flagship of their absurd materialism, so I destroyed it. They thought I wanted to kill the president. Doña Presidente, I could have buried you 1,000,000 times over. No. I wanted you to see it. To feel what it's like. Today, 2 billion people exist in abject misery, tyrannized by war. Doña Presidente, your war machines are no more. Your military is crippled. You cannot stop us now. Cordestier. Rise and strike while they are down. Strike now and strike.
And GameStop have leaks that pre-orders are going to be going live on the 20th of June. Now lots of people are saying this is going to be the full reveal for the campaign, multiplayer and zombies. However, I really don't think so. I think we're going to get something next Friday and maybe even building up to that date specifically, but I don't think it's going to be the full-on reveal, because Call of Duty's blog did say that the full reveal is going to be happening later in the summer. I doubt they would say later in the summer if it's just dropping next week, so I think we are still a little way out until then. However, I think there is going to be something. Like I said, maybe we're going to get some kind of trailer, maybe a campaign trailer, but I don't think it's going to be the full-on game reveal. That'll be at a later date, like I said, if I were to guess. Anyways, before I get into my thoughts on the campaign and stuff like that, I'm going to play the full campaign cutscene for you to enjoy right now if you, for some weird reason, haven't seen it already, or you just want to watch it again, because it's an absolute banger. So I'll be back in a second.
Welcome to the Guild. We have been expecting you. Please, follow me. You already know us as a global tech leader. Our software, our systems, combined with our skilled team, is designed to save lives. Your years of service have shown you the importance of our work. Here, you'll witness the global scope of that mission in action. Let me introduce you to our esteemed visionary.
For too long, we have been bound by outdated systems, accepting limitations instead of redefining them. The Guild is safeguarding tomorrow, now. We are pioneering the future of protection worldwide. Our advancements are designed to elevate everyday life, reshaping the future of technology on a global scale. I'm Emma Kagan, CEO of the Guild.
Fear is a powerful thing. David Mason. Menendez.
So this trailer was absolutely beautiful. It's one of the most visually appealing and clean, crisp looking cutscenes we've ever gotten in Call of Duty, or just any game for that matter. It looks so realistic and it really matches the futuristic vibe with how clear it looks. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I hope that all of the cutscenes in Black Ops 7's campaign and also zombies look this beautiful, because if so, we're in for a massive treat. But yeah, if the cutscenes are this beautiful, it gives me hope for the original characters' return, because if they look this great, it's really going to make up for Black Ops 4's final Ether map's poor cutscenes, which I think Treyarch probably want to right the wrongs they made with the budget cuts they saw with Black Ops 4 Zombies, and have epic cutscenes and give them proper closure, which they didn't get a chance to do in Black Ops 4, although narratively I think they did. It was not great for the community that the Ether story ended with these very poor cutscenes that were like slideshows. Now, like I said, this cutscene came as a massive shock to everyone that it's a Call of Duty one. It looks so promising, and I'm so glad that we're going to the near futuristic setting once more. It's about damn time. It's just been getting so boring getting Modern Warfare's back to back to back. This era has just been abandoned since Infinite Warfare received a load of dislikes on the trailer, and we're not going as far into the future as those games. We're still being cautious, but I would imagine, depending on the success of this game, will determine if they want to do an Advanced Warfare 2 or something like that Sledgehammer want to do. But regarding the Black Ops 7 campaign itself, I am really excited for it, but like I've talked about in prior videos, we really need to temper our expectations, because I've seen so many people saying, wow, this is so great. People say, you know, Call of Duty is just the same old generic boring game every single year and it just never changes, and we finally get a cutscene that looks different and ambitious and a fresh mind-warping take on Call of Duty, which the Black Ops franchise is of course renowned for, but it seems like we're going even more in a unique direction with this game that we haven't had since Black Ops 3, which obviously, whilst the Black Ops 3's campaign is very ambitious, innovative, and unique, it's one of the most hated campaigns for that reason, due to how overconvoluted it is and how drawn out some of the missions are. But people are saying that, you know, if the Black Ops 3 campaign was just refined, then it might have been more enjoyable, and that's the vibe I hope they get the contrast right with Black Ops 7. It shouldn't be as messy as Black Ops 3's narrative. They really need to curb it back a little bit and make it a bit more accessible to a general audience, which Black Ops 3 just absolutely wasn't. You know, if Black Ops 3 was a non-Call of Duty game, I think people would have enjoyed it a lot more, but for the Call of Duty audience specifically, it just wasn't right. So they really need to make the campaign accessible, but still have the mind-warping aspects that Black Ops games are known for. But we need to be cautious here, because whilst the cutscene looks beautiful and whilst it looks amazing, this is just a cutscene after all, and I don't understand why people are saying, whoa, Black Ops 7 is going to be the best thing ever, screw Black Ops 6, Treyarch are finally going to get the time and resources to make this game a banger, which clearly they've been forced off of Black Ops 6's post-launch to focus on Black Ops 7. But we've literally only seen a 3-minute pre-rendered cutscene. We have no idea what the gameplay looks like right now. We only got a little few-second teaser clip at the end for campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. That's it. The cutscenes, for example, or even the overall narrative could all be amazing for Black Ops 7's campaign, but it doesn't mean the campaign itself is going to be enjoyable. As you know, it's going to be an open world campaign. You're going to be able to play with up to 4 players, and a lot of the missions are going to be taking place on Avalon, the cancelled or either postponed Warzone map. And in the past, Call of Duty open world campaigns have not been great. Black Ops 3's was not great, the only other cooperative campaign apart from World at War. So it didn't work the first time, and we then had open combat missions in Modern Warfare 3's campaign, which are again were not great. And there's been leaks coming out that Black Ops 7's campaign is not great either. So we absolutely should not be jumping to conclusions, no matter how good this cutscene is, because honestly, I do think this is one of the best ever teaser trailers we've ever gotten for Call of Duty, especially because it's one of the first times they didn't announce it beforehand, and it caught everyone off guard because they didn't realize it was Call of Duty, fans and non-fans alike. But this is not indicative of anything about what the campaign's even going to be like. For all we know, the vibe that is present in this cutscene is barely even present in the main campaign itself. If we look at Black Ops 6, the first teaser trailer we got, which showed Bush Sr., Margaret Thatcher, Saddam Hussein, etc. The truth lies. The marketing made it seem like the campaign would be tackling and commenting on real-world events and critical of the governments, and then we jump into the actual game and it's all absent. That vibe is just not all present in the campaign itself, and we end up having a boring plot with the Pantheon. And that could be a very similar case that we see with Black Ops 7, where when we get the game itself, this cutscene ends up not being reflective of what the actual campaign is like. A similar thing happened with Modern Warfare 3, the reboot's reveal trailer. That made it seem like World War 3 would be happening. It made it seem like Captain Price would die. It made it seem like no Russian would be a lot more impactful, more on par with the original.
We have 2 missiles incoming. If you are there, get out.
It's killing civilians.
Visual on target. We need medevac now.
He wants a world war.
We get the campaign and it's underwhelming, there's no stakes, Makarov is underbaked, nothing really ends up happening in the campaign, we just run around the globe chasing nukes and deactivating them, and that's about it. And then Makarov kills Soap, suddenly runs off into the tube, and then it's not followed up at all. So we've been burnt in the past, so it makes sense to be cautious. And for those non-Call of Duty fans who thought that the cutscene looked great, but then were bummed out when they found out it was Call of Duty, well, for those saying, well, you know, if you don't like Call of Duty, but you see that this trailer seems promising, why not give it a chance? Well, for one, most of the people that thought it looks interesting probably aren't big fans of just the kind of shooter game that Call of Duty is. And even if the premise of the cutscene is the same, like I say, I think it's very unlikely that it's going to be present throughout the entire campaign. I think the narrative will be, but in terms of the actual missions themselves, I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking or on the same level. I think it'll be similar to what we've seen before, just open world and on Avalon, which doesn't sound that great of a premise to me. So that's just my overall opinions. I'm really hoping the campaign blows it out of the park, but I am cautious because Treyarch have only had a short period of time to work on this game. Now, I know that they are coming out now and saying that Black Ops 6 and 7 have always been developed simultaneously. I really do not think that is true. I think it's just the general marketing bullshit that they say every single time to get you hyped, because, you know, obviously they were saying 4 years of development time for Black Ops 6, which isn't exactly true. If they were working on Black Ops 7 at the same time, they were working on Modern Warfare Zombies, Vanguard Zombies, etc. We shouldn't fall for these marketing taglines. I think Black Ops 6 was in development a lot sooner. Even just judging from the leaks from the Call of Duty HQ, things started surfacing a lot sooner, and from the rumblings in the community that I've heard, it doesn't seem like this is true at all. I think they probably were greenlit at the same time, but didn't go beyond concepting until recently, and that's evidence why the Black Ops 6 post-launch content has slowed down massively, and we're waiting now for a while until Janus Towers. That's because Treyarch are hard at work on Black Ops 7. But anyways, before I get into all of the campaign information itself, since I've just been sharing my general thoughts, I first have an awesome message to share with you, and we'll be right back, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere. I'm thrilled to dive into something special in today's video, Try Survive, a game that's been keeping me hooked courtesy of Majestic Mind Games. This isn't your average game, it's an action roguelite that masterfully blends the fast-paced, addictive chaos of Vampire Survivors with deep fantasy RPG themes. And let me tell you, it's an absolute joy to play. And I want to give the developers a big thank you for sponsoring this video. I've had a blast testing it out. What makes Try Survive stand out is its innovative twist. Instead of controlling a single hero, you lead a dynamic party of 3. Each hero comes with unique skills and abilities, challenging you to strategize and adapt as you explore a richly detailed medieval world teeming with magical creatures and kingdoms. The storyline hooks you right away. Your peaceful home is suddenly invaded by demonic creatures, and it's up to your trio to unite their forces and put a stop to the threat. On top of that, the game features a gorgeous JRPG-inspired, hand-drawn art style that really brings the fantasy to life, making every moment visually captivating. I've been spending a lot of time with the demo lately, and good news, it's currently free and publicly available for everyone, so there's absolutely no reason not to give it a try if this looks interesting to you. This gem was recently showcased at Steam Next Fest, giving players a taste of what's to come. Developed by Majestic Mind Games, an indie studio based in Saudi Arabia with support from NeoM, this team is passionate about creating strategic strategic games that entertain while delivering meaningful, positive experiences. The game is still in its early stages, but they are gearing up for an early access launch later this summer 2025, of course, and I'm currently counting down the days. So if you are excited, Majestic Mind Games have provided me with a custom tracking link, which you can check out linked in the description or the pinned comment, to play the Try Survive demo on Steam for free today. If enticed, you won't regret jumping in. While you are there, make sure to wishlist it ahead of its full launch later this summer. I've had so much fun testing it out, and I can't wait for you to experience this epic adventure too. So once again, a big thank you to Majestic Mind Games for sponsoring this video, and let me know what you think of it down in the comments if you get a chance to try it out. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully covering its early access very soon. Now back to the rest of the video. Enjoy. So yeah, whilst I'm cautious about this campaign, at the same time, Treyarch campaigns are usually great, and even the ones that aren't as great, the trippy elements always have me intrigued. So I'm excited to see what the general premise is for the campaign, and I think even if the gameplay is pretty boring or bland, I think the narrative should be pretty interesting at least, but we will have to wait and see. But the thing that has me a bit wary is the fact that obviously David Mason is front and center in the teaser cutscene. However, according to leaks, he's not going to be a playable character. Instead, you're going to have a character who's basically unnamed and just the leader or player one you play as. Maybe they will end up getting a name, but they're not really going to be important, and these are just nameless soldiers you play as, handpicked by David as part of the Black Ops squad. Characters will be customizable, not as much to the extent in Cold War and Modern Warfare 3's campaign characters though. The Safehouse will apparently be returning, as well as the ability to purchase upgrades to your equipment and gear, albeit with some new additions and features. So this is really disappointing, and I think it just doesn't allow the characters to be fleshed out enough. It's the easiest thing for them to do, but people really wanted to play as David Mason. Why are they going this nameless route once again? It's just boring and it's been overdone. It was just such a missed opportunity to have David, Harper, Crosby, and so many of the other greats, which again has me worried, because I think the cutscenes themselves, as we've seen from this teaser one, will all be great, but the narrative might not be as strong in the gameplay itself. And I do not even understand why people are excited right now, because I don't think we really can be until we've seen more, until we've seen gameplay, until we actually see what this campaign is like. And I've got a sneaky suspicion they're going to be really careful with what they show of the gameplay this year around, because of the leaks being that it's a pretty poor campaign, so they don't really want to show off much. Maybe they're going to show one of the more linear campaign missions. Now obviously they're going to apparently be open world campaign missions, but it might be similar to Modern Warfare 3's case, where there's a bit of a mix between, but you're always going to be able to play cooperative, it seems. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. It'll definitely be a lot more fun playing with friends. I mean, I've only played Black Ops 3's campaign on solo. Maybe it would have actually been a lot more enjoyable with other people. But this brings me on to the next thing I want to discuss regarding the Guild.
Welcome to the Guild. We have been expecting you.
Now, the Guild seem to be this mega corporation that funding all of the technology and these weird simulation things, and maybe even the early prototype DNI for Black Ops 3's campaign that we see in Black Ops 7's campaign. And their CEO is Emma Kagan, that we see a hologram projection of in the campaign.
I'm Emma Kagan, CEO of the Guild.
Now, I'm not sure if this is a hologram itself of just a simulated version of this character, an AI version, or if it's just a transmission and she's actually speaking just from somewhere else in the world and it's being projected here. Regardless, Emma Kagan's going to be the main CEO, and the thing is, the Guild are actually from Black Ops 6's campaign. They were active for an unknown period, operating in Avalon. It is unknown what the extent of their activities were, but they were primarily involved in weapon trafficking / smuggling and arming criminal underworld organizations. At some point, they had established a relationship with Pantheon to supply them with a particular hardware. As a meeting had been set up on the yacht of Canik Duffer, William Case Calderon would kill him after gathering the intel of the two factions' partnership. Case, now joined by the Guild member, Savati Sev Dumas, would infiltrate into their headquarters and kill Omar Seghir, Aminati Sai, and Johannes Asaidi. So somehow they have gone from helping Pantheon in Black Ops 6's campaign to becoming this basically super rich corporation, and I don't know how this has happened, so obviously that gap has to be filled in. But Black Ops 6's narrative has been very poor. Everything to do with the Pantheon has been very poor, so I think if that's tying into that storyline, it doesn't really give me hope that it's going to be interesting, in my opinion. But somehow by 2035 they turn into a powerful weapons manufacturer. We will have to just find out how. But what are the Guild actually up to? Well, I actually think this is tying into the specialist stories / the Blackout storyline that we saw in Black Ops 4, and COD Facts did a really good video video the other day that I'll have linked in the description if you want to check it out after you're done with this one, sort of explaining that, and I think that's what the campaign and its trippy elements are going to be, which if this is the case, it's a really weird thing for Treyarch and Ravensoft to do for a campaign when, for one, not many people even really cared about Black Ops 4's storyline because it didn't have a campaign, so most people didn't even play the specialist stories, and it's just such a bit of deep cut lore that people won't really get the connection to, and I don't know why they would think to do that and not tie it more into the grounded stuff, but I think it's an interesting premise nevertheless. I think Blackout's lore was actually very interesting and is the type of mystery right up a Zombies fan's alleyway, which I am so excited for. And yes, Ravensoft are doing the development for this game, obviously in collaboration with Treyarch once again. I know it was previously rumored they might not be, but they are. So basically, this is the basis for the campaign that I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be setting up the backstory of the archetypes that we saw, which were essentially the reason why you could play as any character in Blackout. Now, obviously, in recent years, we have not gotten a proper storyline reason, for example, in Warzone, why you can play from characters in any of the games, and no matter the time era of when Warzone's set, obviously it's jumped about depending on the integrations it's connected with. But we didn't learn much about the archetypes in Black Ops 4, but they were a group of people brought back to life, possibly as one of Project Blackout's main objectives, consisting of characters like Alex Mason, Frank Woods, Raul Menendez, Victor Reznov, and Jason Hudson. It was never known how these archetypes are brought back to life or exactly how they were created, but they were essentially a way for the CIA to have super soldiers and bring back their best soldiers, and basically Blackout was kind of like a real world arena where they could test out these archetypes, and the ones that would survive and win the victory royale would be the ones that would be kept alive, and basically they were doing essentially like selective breeding in a way to try and iron out the strongest of the archetypes they were creating. And the founder of Project Blackout was Savannah Mason Meyer, the granddaughter of Alex Mason that Woods actually bangs in this game, which is a deep cut lore which I wonder if it'll end up coming out in Black Ops 7. But anyways, I really think that this is sort of the backstory of that, so maybe this might be leading into Project Blackout in the future. But Project Blackout has been running since I believe the 1970s, so it's been around for a while, and I think that's why we see Menendez in the campaign. I think Menendez is in fact dead. Lots of people have been saying, oh, he might still be alive somehow now. I think it is the canon ending he dies in Black Ops 2's campaign, because it was actually confirmed in the old official Treyarch timeline they released a while ago leading up to Black Ops 3's release, and even in the terminal in Black Ops 3's campaign, it was referenced as being canon as well. So I really do think the aftermath of the riots and stuff after his death leads into Black Ops 3's campaign, and that is still canon. And leading up to Black Ops 6's release, they did confirm that Black Ops 3 and 4 are still canon as well. So I think this plays an integral role in it. Instead, I think that Raul Menendez is either an archetype he's brought back from the dead, or he's some sort of hallucination from David Mason inside of his mind. I think that the guild will be doing experiments on him, and maybe that's a way to bring the archetypes into life. Maybe the archetypes have to be generated from people's memories of these people or something weird like that, leading into eventually the DNI stuff in Black Ops 3's campaign. Or maybe it's just a straight up hallucination. We see this warped world, of course, this warped city where everything goes upside down, and also we get some specific quotes, if you can hear whispering in the background, from Raul Menendez speaking to David Mason, and I'll play them for you now. So we hear him say, I watched you die, get out of my head. So it really does suggest that this is some sort of psychological and hallucinatory element tying into the madness theme that they've been talking about with regards to Black Ops 7's campaign. So I really think that this is either a simulation of some kind of some sort of hallucination in his head, or some sort of drug-induced thing, and this will tie into the archetypes. And speaking of Menendez, I don't know who's obviously going to play him, because obviously, unfortunately, his old actor passed away in 2023, whilst he did return return in a weird Vanguard season, but that was not canon. However, David Mason has been recast and is now being played as Milo Ventimiglia, who I think really fits the role. He looks very similar, and I think this is kind of the reason people didn't suspect it was Black Ops as well, because they didn't identify him initially. Michael Rooker, though, is still going to be remaining as Mike Harper, reprising his role, which will be involved in the campaign as well, and leaks are saying Woods is also going to be back and somehow either still alive in his hundreds, or he might be a part of this DNI or hallucination or archetype thing. Maybe we're going to see the beginnings of his archetype or something like that. But I think that David Mason's going to be haunted throughout the Black Ops 7 campaign. I think that's going to be essentially the story where the guild are doing some sort of experiments on him, and he's going to have to relive his past and maybe even the past of Black Ops in general, because it's probably not just him. There's going to be way more people, probably everyone else involved in the campaign. If Woods is still alive or Harper or etc., they're going to have to relive their past memories, or maybe we're going to see past memories of even his father, Alex Mason. And I think that's what the premise of the campaign is going to be, where it's going to be like Blackout, which had, of course, these different character missions you could do to unlock them as operators, which were kind of paying homage to old lovable missions that they starred in. So maybe Black Ops 7's campaign could be reliving the past, and we might see old campaign missions brought back to life, maybe as a part of Avalon now or elsewhere, but these are going to be either simulations or hallucinations of some kind as a part of the early archetype process to bring characters back to life. And there's quite a bit of evidence that we might be getting flashback missions in the campaign in some way from the history of Black Ops. Because, for example, we see the interrogation room from Black Ops 1 where we see the monitors flickering on, and then we also see the Time and Fate mission from Black Ops 2's campaign from 1986, and we see his base. And there's another shot which seems to resemble Angola. The city one could be Kowloon tied to Jason Hudson. So all in all, could there be specific missions to each specific archetype character? Vorkuta for Alex Mason, Angola for Frank Woods, Kowloon for Jason Hudson, Nicaragua for Menendez in the Time and Fate mission when he lost his sister, which ties into the locket. And this could even tie into the I was not the one in the box stuff with the weird Blackout storyline and the stuff with Woods, because we do see something similar and something similar to the crate in the trailer as well. So I really do think we might be getting flashback missions in this way. I don't think all of them will be, but I think there might be some sprinkled in, but these are going to be like weird, distorted, psychological versions of the original missions, as opposed to just straight up being remakes or remasters, and then it's going to tie into the new campaign narrative in some way. And there's going to be a lot of fans as well who haven't even played these old missions, so they're going to be brand new for them, but I think this could be a good way to wrap everything up. Now, a big thing is David Mason is, of course, following this red butterfly in the cutscene, and then he touches it, and then the simulation or inside his mind potentially breaks, and then everything goes upside down and everything goes crazy. People are wondering what the butterfly means, with the most common assumption being it's meant to represent the butterfly effect. When you do one tiny action that creates a domino and changes the present and future, it creates a ripple effect, and that could be it. Or the butterfly could actually be representing Menendez's locket. You know, maybe even the entire campaign's kind of all in his mind, in his head, exploring his history, going into the future. There's got to be a reason why David Mason comes back as well to the military after he retires from the canon Black Ops 2 ending, not wanting to continue the legacy of his father, which just constantly was trapping them in a cycle. And I think that'll tie into why he comes back for the archetype stuff. There's probably going to be a lot of promotion going on inside the world, trying to get people to sign up for this cutting edge technology. And I am glad that we're going to see a lot of the futuristic stuff, like we see the robot that looks very similar to Ethan from Infinite Warfare. However, it's more similar to the robots we saw in Black Ops 3's campaigns. They are all part of one universe now, in my opinion. And you even see the big mechs that you saw in Black Ops 3's campaign as well, and some of the other stuff. So I really think this is going to be the early days of both Black Ops 3's campaign and Blackouts, and the Blackout/Black Ops 4 storyline. As this locket does seem to have a butterfly on it, and it's got blood on it, like the butterfly being red. It actually belonged to his sister, Josefina Menendez, and shows Raul about to cut his throat with the pointed end of the locket before the burning Josefina cries, "Don't leave me." And this could be showing how these memories are bleeding into him, if it's this weird stuff tying in with the archetypes, and he's sort of chasing this butterfly, this spiral effect, as to what made him who he is.
Comes for what? These flashes. I'm getting.
I would not kill
What the
you.
hell's going on?
Not like Woods.
You suffer with me.
You will suffer with me. And then one day, you will see this pendant again. And you will remember everything you saw and felt tonight. You will remember all the years of anger and pain. And when you do, David, please.
Fear is a powerful thing. David Mason. Menendez.
Because that could be kind of what this is all about and what the Blackout storyline was all about. Who is the most Alex Mason? Who is the most Sergeant Frank Woods? What made them these characters? It could be exploring the psychological reasons and events that led them there, and they need to be able to probably understand that to be able to replicate their psyche and their exact people if they want to rebuild them to fight in war and be successful. And I think the reason they might be doing this and they might be going the archetype route is because, like I said before, there has not been a canon really reason for Warzone and stuff like that, and the storyline with the connected Call of Duty universe has gotten very messy lately, so they might be tapping into the weird lore of the Black Ops universe to try and now give a proper reason for that, instead of just bringing characters back from the dead that makes a little sense, like Graves, Alex, Victor Zakhaev, etc. Now instead, if they want to bring people back to sell microtransactions, it could be a part of the archetype process, and this way, inside of Black Ops 7, we might be able to play as all characters from the Black Ops games, regardless of the era, because it might be just like we saw with Black Ops 7. Now, in terms of Avalon itself, like I said, it might be a cancelled Warzone map. It might end up coming to Warzone, or I know there's been DMZ rumors as well, or maybe even some sort of Outbreak sequel, but Treyarch have specifically said Black Ops 7 is going to be round-based zombies only, so maybe Outbreak will come post-launch, or maybe it's been cancelled, and now it's just going to be reworked and reused for the campaign. I'm not sure, but Avalon looks very beautiful. We can see the futuristic tech, but I do think there's probably going to be multiplayer maps set in Avalon as well, like we saw in Black Ops 6's campaign. It's been made for a while. It was supposed to release with Black Ops 6, and I think that's more evidence why Activision are lying about Black Ops 6 and 7 being in development at the same time, because if most of the campaign is in Avalon, we know Avalon was planned to release with Black Ops 6's Warzone integration instead, but it got cancelled for the return of Verdansk. So this is just absolutely not true, because otherwise the campaign would not have a location if it weren't for it getting pushed back from Black Ops 6. And this is clearly a hallucination or a distortion. Menendez is not alive. The world's literally upside down a few seconds before, so I don't know why people are even entertaining this idea. And we get a few clips of multiplayer. At the end, we see a cloaking invis suit that'll probably be in the campaign and multiplayer as well. Hopefully, though, it does look visible enough to see in multiplayer, which makes me think maybe specialists are even going to be back. Are you going to have different abilities and stuff you could do? Because you did in Black Ops 3's campaign as well, and I think with having an open world co-op campaign, it works for that. But overall, I think the campaigns, the narrative is going to be interesting times into the Blackout lore, but I think it's going to be very niche for most of the community, that they won't really get it. I think the campaign missions will be fun, but I don't think they're going to be anything groundbreaking as much as people suspect, just judging from the 3-minute cutscene. But at least it's different. I am excited that it's something different, but Treyarch and Raven haven't had much time to develop this game, contrary to what they're trying to say, so that's the biggest reason why I'm not holding out hope. I think this is the best thing they could scrape together in a short period of time, which is why we might be getting returning old missions from the past, and why they're all going to be set on Avalon, just reusing content that got held back because they did have to develop it in a short period of time, and with that short period of time they had to come up with a campaign concept that can explain it all away, and that's why I think they decided to tie it into the Blackout stuff, because the map, it looks very similar to a Blackout sequel. You even have the gliders, which I really hope returns to Warzone at some point. I really do hope we get this map in Warzone eventually, and it's a more Blackout style map, especially because the Euro Mountains was cancelled, but I'm not holding out hope. We'll just have to see how it all goes, especially because the engine is apparently not going to be upgraded until Modern Warfare 4 in 2026, and that'll be the time they can have multiple big Battle Royale maps, because apparently they cannot do that right now because the games are still being made for PS4 and Xbox One, holding them back, which is a massive shame. They really need to ditch the last gen consoles, and it's a shame that this is going to be the last one and we won't do that until Modern Warfare 4. But yeah, right now we're just waiting until we hear more information. It's all just speculation for now. We don't really know what the campaign's actually going to be about, apart from the one official description which said this is the first ever consecutive release of Black Ops games within the series, set more than 40 years after the events of Black Ops 6. The year is 2035 and the world is on the brink of chaos. Treyarch and Raven are bringing players the most mind-bending Black Ops ever, and I really think this could be, but honestly, can they top Black Ops 3? I'm not exactly sure. Ravaged by violent conflicts and psychological warfare following the events of Black Ops 2 and 6, wielding cutting-edge technology, David Mason and his team must fight back against a manipulative enemy who weaponizes fear above all else. So I think the guild will essentially be selling this idea of these archetypes, and they're going to be using them in the real world for a profit, obviously, they're going to be selling them to armies across the globe to fight in battle, and I think that's going to be the premise for the campaign. But yeah, feel free to let me know any of your thoughts in the comments below. Do you share similar opinions? I've really rambled in this video, but this is everything that I could make out regarding the campaign. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.